Let me tell you a truth that most people don't want to hear. If you want a man to miss you, not just notice you, but ache for your presence, you've got to be more than just available. You've got to be unforgettable. Think about the sun for a second. No one appreciates its warmth until the clouds roll in. But when it's gone, you feel the difference. That's how you've got to be. See, too many are out here begging for attention, over-explaining themselves, chasing someone who barely looks back. That's not power. That's desperation dressed up as love. Real attraction? It's like gravity. It pulls without words. And it starts with you standing tall in your own space, in your own worth. Like Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. So, stop asking, how can I make him miss me? Flip the script. Ask, what about me makes me unforgettable? Be the echo in the canyon that lingers long after you've walked away. Be the rare bloom that doesn't grow everywhere. That's what makes someone miss you. Not the constant presence, but the right presence. A man doesn't miss the woman who's always there, always answering, always bending. He misses the woman who knows her value, who's willing to step back and let silence speak. That silence, that's where the longing is born. Like Jung once said, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. Make your presence important. And hey, if this message hits you deep, do me a favor. Like this video, subscribe, and help spread this truth. Someone out there needs to hear it. Now, let's get into how to make any man miss you, using 7 powerful ways inspired by the wisdom of Carl Jung. Number 1. Create space and elevate yourself. If you want a man to miss you, to feel your absence like a missing heartbeat, you've got to understand one simple truth. We only miss what we can't always have. Think about the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen. Did you stop and stare because it happens every day? No. You paused because, in that fleeting moment, you knew it wouldn't last. That's the power of space. It creates longing. But here's where most people trip. They think creating space means just pulling away, going silent, waiting in the shadows for someone to notice. No, that's just distance. And distance without depth is empty. Carl Jung reminds us, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. So while you step back, you're not just giving him room, you're elevating yourself. You're turning inward, looking into your own heart, and growing into the woman you're meant to be. Here's the question that might be on your mind. If I step away, won't he forget me? No, not if you've given him something worth remembering. Not if you've left a spark behind. Think of it like a favorite song. You might not hear it every day, but when it plays again, it pulls you right back into that moment, that feeling. Be that song. When you create space, you give him the gift of contrast. You let him feel the difference between life with you and life without. But here's the key. While he's feeling that space, you're not frozen in place. You're rising. You're out there becoming more radiant, more fulfilled. You're chasing your dreams, nurturing your passions, becoming a magnet that draws not just him, but the world toward you. Imagine a garden. If you plant flowers and never tend to them, they wither. But if you step back, give them sunlight, water, and let them grow, they bloom on their own. You are that garden. And as you bloom, you become unforgettable. Jung said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." So while you give him room to feel your absence, awaken yourself. Feed your soul, find new joys, climb higher. And here's another question you might be wondering. What if he doesn't come back? Let me tell you something. A man who doesn't feel the pull of a woman becoming her highest self was never meant to hold her in the first place. That's not your loss. That's your liberation. The right one. He won't just come back. He'll be drawn in like a moth to the flame of your growth. Creating space is not about playing games. It's about creating value. About becoming a woman who knows her worth so deeply that she's not afraid to stand alone while she rises. And when you rise, you light up like the moon in a dark sky, silent, distant, but impossible to ignore. So don't fear the space. Embrace it. Use it. Step back, not in retreat, but in power. And as you elevate yourself, you'll become the kind of woman who lingers in a man's mind long after you've walked away. He'll miss you, not because you've pulled back, but because you've risen so high, he can't help but look up. Number 2, leave a lasting impression. So let's talk about this. How do you become unforgettable? How do you leave a mark on a man's mind that lingers long after you've left the room? It's not just about showing up, it's about how you show up. Imagine a comet streaking across the night sky. It doesn't just pass by unnoticed, it lights up the darkness, leaves a trail that people remember long after it's gone. That's the kind of presence you need to carry. Every word you speak, every glance, every laugh, they all leave fingerprints on a man's soul. It's the little things, the subtle things, the way you tilt your head when you listen, the way you challenge him with your mind, the way you say his name like it means something. Those are the echoes that stay with him, long after the conversation ends. But here's where true power lies, and it's where many stumble. You do not chase. Let me say that again. You do not chase. Chasing is what the desperate do when they forget their own worth. A woman who knows her value never has to plead for someone to recognize it. Like a rare diamond, she simply is valuable, and either he sees it or he doesn't. And if he doesn't, she doesn't lower her shine to fit into his view. Carl Jung spoke of this kind of self-possession when he said, "I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become." You choose to become a woman who walks away when she's not valued, not as a game, not to manipulate, but because settling for less would betray everything you've built within yourself. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but if I don't show him, if I don't convince him, how will he realize what he's missing? Here's the answer. You don't need to convince anyone of your worth. Think of a beautiful painting. The artist doesn't stand beside it, begging people to understand its value. The art speaks for itself, and the ones who truly see, they know. The rest were never meant to hold that beauty. And it's exactly when you stand in that space, fully grounded in your worth, that you leave the deepest impression. When you don't chase, when you walk away with grace, that's when you become unforgettable. You become the memory that sneaks up on him in quiet moments, the voice he hears in the silence. Jung also said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." So, be the catalyst that transforms, not the one who stays stagnant waiting for approval. In the end, remember this: your presence is your signature. Make it bold, make it beautiful, make it something no one else can replicate. And when you carry yourself like that, that's when he'll miss you, not because you demanded it, but because you made it impossible not to. Number 3, understand the power of purposeful absence. Let's talk about absence, the kind that makes a man stop in his tracks and feel the void you leave behind. But here's the truth. Not all absence works the same. Some women pull away out of anger, fear, or to play a game. That kind of disappearing act? It's hollow. It's like slamming a door but standing right behind it, peeking through the cracks, waiting for someone to knock. That's not power. That's performance. The absence we're talking about here is different. It's purposeful, intentional. It's the kind of absence that doesn't scream, but echoes, like the pause between the beats of a song. It's not just silence. It's what gives the rhythm its meaning. Carl Jung said, "In all chaos there is a cosmos, in all disorder, a secret order." Your purposeful absence, that's your secret order. It creates space for desire to grow. And I know what you might be wondering. If I step back, won't he forget me? No, not if your presence left a mark, but if you're always there, always answering every call, every text the second it pings, always showing up at his convenience. There's nothing for him to miss. You become part of the background, like wallpaper, familiar, expected, and the predictable. It loses its shine. Think about this. Imagine your favorite dessert. If you had it every single day, it wouldn't taste as sweet, would it? It would just become another part of the routine. But when it's rare, when it's a treat, that's when it lights up your senses. That's what purposeful absence does. It makes your presence a treasure, not a given. But here's the key. This isn't about pretending. This isn't about faking being busy just to create space. That's surface-level stuff, and men feel that. No, this is about actually living your life, filling your days with things that fuel you, with passions that light you up. When your life is rich and full, that energy radiates. You're not revolving around him. You're revolving around your own sun. And trust me, a woman with her own orbit? She's magnetic. Jung also taught us that a woman's greatest gift to a man is to help him become conscious of his own soul. Your absence can be that mirror. That space allows him to sit with himself, to realize what your presence truly brought into his life. Not because you forced it, but because in the quiet, he can feel the difference. So don't fear stepping back. Do it with purpose, with grace. Let him feel the weight of your absence, and you'll become unforgettable in the silence. Number 4, let the right man feel the weight of your silence. Stepping back isn't about punishing him. It's not some Cold War tactic or silent treatment. No, this is about grace, about standing so firmly in your worth that you can step away without bitterness, without fear. You step back because you know, deep down, that a man who truly values you will feel that space you've left behind. He'll feel it like a missing piece of a puzzle, like a pause in his favorite song that leaves him craving the next note. But here's the truth that might sting a little. If he doesn't feel it, if he doesn't notice, you've got your answer. And it's a gift, because the right man, he will notice. He'll wonder where you've gone, why your light isn't shining in his direction. That curiosity, it'll turn into a quiet hunger, a longing. Like Carl Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And when you fully accept yourself, your worth, your value, you give him the space to either rise to meet you or quietly fade out of your life. Now, I know what creeps into your mind in that space. What if he forgets me? What if he moves on? But hear me when I say this. If he can forget you that easily, he was never truly meant to stand beside you. You're not here to chase. You're here to be met halfway. Patience is your power. Too many people break their own silence too soon. They get nervous, they doubt themselves, they fill the space too fast. But think about it. Does a rare diamond rush to prove its value? No, it waits, because it knows its worth isn't tied to someone else's recognition. The right man won't move on without feeling the pull of your absence. He won't just replace the energy you brought into his world. You're not a placeholder. You're not easily replaced. You are the echo in his empty room, the light he realizes he misses only when it dims. Let the right man step up. Give him the chance to feel the shift, to realize what's missing, and to come forward on his own. Not because you begged, but because your worth speaks louder in your silence than words ever could. Number 5, turn the spotlight back on your life. If you want a man to truly miss you, here's a truth you need to wrap your heart around. You cannot make him the center of your universe and expect him to feel the weight of your absence. Too many women slip into that trap, making space in their lives for him, shifting plans, answering texts the second they land, waiting for the next call like a flower waiting for the sun. But here's the thing. When you give someone all your light, they stop noticing it. It becomes constant. It becomes background noise. A man doesn't miss what's always there. He misses what feels just out of reach. Like the moon, steady, beautiful, untouchable. Always there, but never quite his to hold. And the women who are unforgettable? They're the ones who are too busy building their own empires, chasing their dreams, pouring energy into their passions to sit around wondering if he's thinking of them. They live with purpose, not in waiting. Carl Jung once said, "The shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases." That means your path, your rhythm, your journey, they're yours alone. You weren't meant to shrink your world to fit into someone else's. You weren't made to orbit around him. You're your own sun, and the right man? He'll find his way into your orbit. But you never dim your light for someone to feel comfortable. And I know the doubt that creeps in. If I focus on my life, will he forget about me? No. What actually happens is this. When you're fully engaged in your own growth, your own joy, your own journey, you create a natural, irresistible distance. Not a cold shoulder, but a boundary that says, my time is valuable, my energy is precious. Not everyone gets to drain it. That's not manipulation, that's self-respect. A woman who stands tall in her own life becomes magnetic. She doesn't chase because she's too busy moving forward. She doesn't adjust her crown to fit someone else's comfort zone. And in that space, where she's living fully, that's when a man starts to feel her absence. He feels the shift, the space she no longer fills so easily. So, turn the spotlight back on your own life. Water your own garden, feed your own soul. That's where your power lies. And in doing so, you become unforgettable. Not because you tried to be, but because you are. Number 6. Speak less, say more, and keep a little mystery. If you want to linger in a man's mind long after the conversation ends, understand this. Communication isn't about flooding his phone with words. It's not about over-explaining, oversharing, or trying to fill every silence. True communication? It's an art. It's knowing when to speak, what to say, and, maybe most importantly, when to stop. Think of the woman who leaves an imprint. She doesn't talk to be heard. She speaks to spark curiosity, to light something in him that makes him want to know more. She knows that less is often more. Like a good book you can't put down. She ends the chapter right when it's getting good. She leaves him at the edge of his seat, wanting the next page, the next conversation. Carl Jung said, "The most intense conflicts, if overcome, leave behind a sense of security and calm that is not easily disturbed." The same is true in how you communicate. Don't be afraid of the pause, the quiet moments. They aren't empty. They're where curiosity grows. The more you leave unsaid, the more space you create for him to wonder, to imagine, to miss. Here's the question I know you're asking, but shouldn't I be open? Shouldn't I share to connect? Yes, connection matters, but mystery, that's what keeps it alive. The moment someone feels they know everything about you, the spark dims. Curiosity dies in certainty. Mystery isn't about playing games. It's about having layers. Let him uncover them slowly, like peeling back the petals of a flower. One at a time. Don't hand him the whole map to your soul in the first conversation. Let him explore. Let him earn the right to know your depths. Share enough to engage, to connect, but leave space for him to wonder. A woman who shares everything too soon becomes predictable. But a woman with layers, with stories that unfold over time, becomes unforgettable. Your actions, your energy, your silence, they speak volumes. So when you talk, speak with purpose. Leave on a high note. Let him feel the electricity in the air when you exit the conversation. That's where the magic is. In the space between words, in the questions left unanswered. Master the art of saying less, but meaning more. Let him lean in. Let him chase the unknown. Because mystery, when paired with confidence, isn't a game. It's your power. And there it is, 6 powerful ways, woven with wisdom, to make any man miss you, feel your absence, and crave your presence. Remember, this isn't about playing games. It's about knowing your worth, standing tall, and letting your energy speak louder than words ever could. If this message resonated with you, if you felt that spark of truth, Go ahead and like this video, subscribe for more insights that elevate your life, and drop a comment sharing which part spoke to your soul. Let's keep this conversation going because your journey to self-worth is just beginning.